Yo, what's up, Broncos country? How's it going today, guys? So today, me and Mohammed are gonna go give our gut reactions and go over the Broncos 2025 NFL schedule that was released last week. So, Mohammed, first, let's just jump right into it. What was your gut reaction to whenever you first saw the schedule?
It was very exciting, Eddie. I mean, we were waiting for it, and when is it going to come out? And then all these leaks about, oh, this is who we're going to play. Most of the stuff actually were kind of right, especially the game we're playing in London against the Jets, and then the Titans game. But it's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the easiest schedule anywhere, but somewhere in the middle, I would say. But it's exciting. Like I said, Eddie, all these things that keep happening to me kind of gets us close to the season, beginning of the season, week one, which is something I'm really, really looking forward to. So yeah, I mean, it's here.
Yeah, whenever it got released, like I mean, like the day before, usually, or a couple days before the actual NFL schedule release, there's games leaked, so we knew about the Jets game a couple days before. Like, we found out that the Broncos will be playing the Jets in London. It's apparently a home game for the Jets, but I highly doubt that. Last time the Broncos went overseas to play, I think it was in London against the Jags back in 2022 when Hackett was our head coach. Um, that was supposed to be a Jags home game, but there was more orange and blue in the stands than there were Jag colors. So usually Broncos have those are home games for the Broncos, just like going to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. It's like a Broncos another home game. So,
Yeah.
uh, but with that said, I was really excited. Then, like a couple days later, we saw that we had another game leaked for the Broncos. Another, this was the second primetime game. The Broncos playing the Chiefs on Christmas Day in Kansas City. Now, last time we played on Christmas, I believe, was 2022 with Nathaniel Hackett against the Los Angeles Rams, and that was a curb stomp to us by the Rams. I think the final score was like 54-14. That was the last game Hackett coached the Broncos, and he got fired after that game. But that, like the loss, yeah, it sucks on Christmas Day, but that's not going to happen again. I don't care if it's against the Chiefs. I don't care if it's against the Rams, the Ravens, whoever. That's not going to happen again. We're not going to get blown out that bad. Um, but I was pretty excited. Like, based on what I've seen, like Broncos have one of the top 10 softest, easiest schedules this season. Dude, there's oh my god, there is no way this Broncos team fails to make the playoffs this year. I'm sorry, it's just not possible. Like we went 10-7 last year with a little bit of a harder schedule. $85 million dead cap hit, rookie quarterback in Bo Nix, hardly, no tight end one, no running back one, and literally basically just Cortland Sutton, and I guess you could throw Marvin Mims in there. And we added more pieces to this defense to make them even more deadly. And we have a softer schedule. The schedule is not as hard this year as it was last year, dude. Like the football gods have like shined upon us this year. This is our year, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Broncos fan, but if you just look at all the stuff, the schedule, the pieces we added, Bo Nix going in the second year with Sean Payton, like this is our year. It really is. Um, but please, guys, like, comment, subscribe on this video. Also, hit that bell notification so you know when we go live. If you guys got any comments, please get them in so we can go over them. But Mohammed, um, here in a second, we're gonna get started. Here, we're gonna, you know, get everything going. We're gonna get the schedule up, and we're gonna go through each game one by one, and we're gonna give our, win loss projections. So let me get this up here, and we will get going.
All right, Eddie, while you're doing that, I just wanted to say before we start going through the schedule, just like 2 points. The first thing is, and I know we talked about this before I think it was last week before we went, before we went live, we talked about it. Like, can the Broncos stop the run? And then the other thing for me is, can the Broncos get their running game going? Right now, we did make a lot of improvements, right? I mean, I think we will be able to stop the run, but I really have to see it because we did add Greenlaw We got the corner, JD Byrne on the first round. That should help too. But I think in the beginning, it's going to take some time until the Broncos could do that. Now, as far as running the ball, RJ Harvey, from what I've heard so far, is the real deal. But still, it's probably going to take some time. So I just wanted to say that before we start going through the schedule, because I'm going to have that in the back of my mind while coming up with like wins and losses. Now, this could definitely change as we progress. I mean, during the season, right? So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this out there too. Yeah, you're right. But the run game, I'm not so much worried about. I know a lot of people like, we had problems shutting the run down. Like we faced, as you can see here, I think what was it, week 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, week 5, we face the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia, and Saquon, of course. I'm not saying you know we're gonna be able to shut them down because Saquon, to me, is arguably the best running back in the game right now. But with that said, the Broncos have made, well, at least a couple additions on defense. Like, you got Greenlaw, who's great in pass coverage. He's an all well-rounded, really good inside backer that can play the run. He can play the pass. Hufunga, like people are like, well, why are you saying Hufunga? Because he's really a great box safety. Like last year, I don't know if you guys remember, PJ Locke was that box safety of ours. And Brandon Jones was the more, play center field, play back deep, play, the whole field, and cover. PJ Locke, he was not that great of a safety, especially in the box. Like he was not good stopping the run. Hufunga is like that's what he did in San Francisco, and that's what he's going to do here. So you got Greenlaw, who's a well-rounded middle linebacker that can cover, that can play the run game. You got Hufunga, who can play in the box, stop the run game, and then you're also getting Singleton back, and Singleton was one of the best inside backers at stopping the run. So I feel like with those three guys, added to this team or coming back from injury, the Broncos should be able, like, I'm not saying they're going to be like dominant. Like, they're still going to be more dominant in stopping the pass than they are the run, but they're going to be able to limit the run this year. And as far as the run game for the Broncos, we talked about it last week, Muhammad, and on here, guys. Like, he's drawing comparisons to, like I said, I've heard Alvin Kamara, Ingram from the Saints, and even Ricky Williams, a running back that Sean Payton had in New Orleans when he first got there. So, man, and I agree with you. Like, it's probably gonna take some time for these guys, gel together and start playing well. Which is why I think the football gods have rained, sunshine down on us. Because if you look here, and everybody knows this now, like the first game, everybody was waiting to see who the Broncos play week 1 and where they play. Well, the football gods shined on us. Like last year, we noticed it took Bo Nix 2 games, weeks 1 and 2 against the Seahawks and the Steelers last year. Once that game 3 hit, Bo Nix, that's when he started really playing well. That's when he was like, okay, let's go. And he was starting to show. But as we see here, we're going to go through these games one by one. The first game of the season, this one is a cakewalk. Like, this is like basically like last year, the Seahawks, you know, meeting us in Seattle. Like, we had a rookie quarterback. We knew there were going to be growing pains. And honestly, we had it better against Seattle last year because at least we somewhat had a roster. Like, we had Cortland Sutton, we had Surtain, we had pieces on this team to be successful. The Titans have nobody. Like, they got Calvin Ridley. That's basically it. So, Muhammad, first game against the Tennessee Titans here in Denver. What do you think about this game, and what is your projection, win or loss here?
Like I said, it's going to be a very easy game. I mean, doesn't matter who. I think they're gonna play their rookie quarterback Cam Ward, but yeah, he's gonna struggle, Eddie. Like our defense, they're gonna make his life miserable. You know, he's not gonna be able to do much. He's gonna get sacked. He's gonna get hit. It's gonna be a bad day for him, right? I think our defense is going to eat, and our offense is just gonna take advantage of that. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be throwing some interceptions. So yeah, that's a very easy win for the Broncos. You couldn't ask for a better um, first game for the Broncos.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm excited to watch Cam Ward's career. I really am, but they dealt the Titans a tough schedule. Like last year, like I said, we had to go up to Seattle and face that Mike McDonald, defense up there in Seattle, which Seattle's defense wasn't no joke even before he got there. But at least the Broncos had pieces. They had pieces on defense to help. They had pieces on offense to maybe help Bo Nix. I mean, outside of tight end and running back, they had receivers. They had the top offensive line unit. The Titans have nothing. I feel bad for Cam Moore, dude. He's going to get destroyed week one. Like the Titans do not have an offensive line. They have, like I said, outside of Calvin Ridley, no weapons. They have no run game. They have no tight end. They have no receivers outside of Ridley. Their defense is atrocious. Bo Nix, I wouldn't be surprised if Bo Nix goes for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. And honestly, if you understand football history at all, who usually starts out better first, the offense or the defense at the start of the season? Who usually has a better start?
Defense.
Defense. So, and Cam Ward being a rookie, them, not having that many weapons or a great offensive line, him trying to figure stuff out, like it's just going to be a hell day for him. And, like I said, I love watching rookies play, but of course I'm going to root for the Broncos. They're my team, and I hope they get to Cam Ward and take him down. But I am, it's going to be a rough out for the kid that day. It really is. And, just it's a hard ask for you to say, hey, Cam Ward, go out there and win us this game, or even to be somewhat competitive. I think this year for the Titans is basically just develop Cam Ward, see what you got, and keep building through the draft. Maybe next year the Titans will be better, but I think as of right now, like this is pretty much just a building year and a development year for Cam Ward is all it is. So I got the Broncos easily taking the dub here. My score prediction for this game is I'm going to say 34-7. Like it's going to be a blowout. Bo Nix is going to thrive on that defense, who literally, I think, has Josh Simmons. That's it. Their defense does not scare anyone, and Bo Nix is going to thrive. And Cam Ward, I think they'll get at least one touchdown in this game. So I got the easy dub here. So we both got the dub here, Mohammed. So we got the Broncos starting off 1-0. Next game, I'm looking forward to this game because this is pretty much a rematch from last year. Only this time it's going to be in Indianapolis. And I don't know if you heard, Muhammad, but initially the Broncos wanted to have this game, I think, in Germany. Like they wanted to have the Colts game in Germany, and the Colts struck it down. They said no, they don't want that. So, but with that said, we're going to Indianapolis. We don't even know who the quarterback's going to be in Indianapolis. Is it going to be Anthony Richardson or is it going to be Daniel Jones? What is your thoughts of this game, and what's your score or what's your win-loss prediction and score prediction for this game?
So Eddie, they're a little bit a better team, a little bit tougher than the Titans, but the Broncos going to definitely win this game. Jonathan Taylor is probably going to be trying to, take his revenge because I know he dropped the ball last game, and that's probably why they didn't go to the playoffs. But this is going to be his as far as like a running back, he's going to be testing our defense, but I think he probably gets some yardage, but they pretty much will limit him. I got the Broncos winning this game.
What's your score prediction for this game?
So give them like maybe 10 points. Broncos maybe 21, 24, something like that. Somewhere around.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I don't know. I have a weird feeling. I got this gut feeling that Daniel Jones is going to wind up beating out Anthony Richardson for the starting quarterback job here in Indianapolis. And I think he's going to be starting. If that's the case, the Colts ain't winning this game. Even if it's Anthony Richardson, I think they have more of a chance to win with Anthony Richardson. But even with Anthony Richardson, I don't think they're going to win. I think it'd be maybe a little closer. But if it's Daniel Jones, it's going to be a freaking annihilation. This defense is going to eat him alive. I think they'll eat Anthony. I mean, they ate Anthony Richardson alive last year. But like you said, the turning point of that game last year against the Colts was that Jonathan Taylor, him dropping the ball before going into the end zone. That was a key turning point in that game last year. But at the same time, I'm not saying this defense was, terrible because they were a top unit last year in the NFL. But now you got people, like I've said before, before we started doing the schedule, like You got Hufunga, great box safety, better than PJ Locke. He's going to be able to help stop the run. Singleton's going to be back, great at stopping the run. Greenlaw, he's an all well rounded, middle linebacker that can stop the run and play the pass. So good luck. Jonathan Taylor is not going to pop off like he did last year. It's not going to happen. So I got the Broncos here also taking the dub. I got the score probably about 25 to, I would say, probably 13, 25-13, Denver. So next up, we got the Los Angeles Chargers in LA. Now, I said this before, like basically the Chargers, going to their stadium in LA is basically going to another Broncos home game. You watch any Bronco Chargers game in Los Angeles, it's always a sea of orange. There's not like you might briefly see a Chargers fan, but but with that said, Muhammad, what is your win loss projection on this, and what do you think of this game, and what do you think the scoring is going to be?
So Eddie, the Chargers they make me nervous. They scare me. They match up pretty well. Well coached. This is going to be a test for the Broncos to see if they can actually stop the run. It's a good team. Their O line is decent. I don't know, Eddie. I feel like we're gonna drop an L on this game. We're probably gonna split. Maybe when I guess we play them like in week 18, we'll win that game at home. But going there, I know there's more Broncos fans than I don't know. It's gonna be pretty close, but I feel like the Chargers gonna win. It's gonna be close, bro, like by a field goal or something. I'll say maybe a 21-24, something like that. Chargers.
I got the Broncos taking a loss here too. I just feel like earlier in the year, it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like we're going to split with the Chargers too. Um, but here in Los Angeles, I got the Broncos taking the L. I like what the Chargers have done. Like their defense, they lost Bosa. They still have Mac. Honestly, their defense does not scare me. I mean, I am a little, like I said, I think their defense this year for us is going to be better at stopping the run, but they're going to have Najee Harris and they're going to have Omari and Hampton. So they're going to have two really good running backs back there. I got the Broncos losing this one. I think it'll be a close game too. I think it's going to be more of a 28-25. Like, and that's going to become a theme in this video today, Muhammad, is like you're going to notice that I got the Broncos scoring probably at least anywhere from at least over 20 points a game. I can tell you that much right now. Wins or losses, Broncos are going to score over 20 points a game because I feel now with the weapons they have and Bo Nix in the second year with Sean Payton, and Sean Payton usually getting averaging about 25 points per game out of his offenses, if not more. Like the Broncos are not going to score less than 20 this year, I believe. So I got the Chargers taking this game 28-25 over the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos falling to 2-1 to start the first 3 weeks of the season. Now, here comes week 4. The Cincinnati Bengals come to Denver. I'm going to really get into this game because I'm excited about it. But Mohammed, what's your thoughts, your score prediction, and everything on this game?
Well, Eddie, I mean they're a really good team as far as the offense. They don't have much on defense because we know they got all their money on their quarterback and the two wide receivers, right? Yeah, big deal. Everybody's kind of like, oh, the Bengals and stuff. They really don't scare me. I mean, that's a strength for the Broncos, stopping the pass, right?
Yep.
They're gonna try to run the ball. I mean, honestly, I don't. I'm not really scared of the Bengals. I think they're gonna really struggle against our defense. I think it's gonna be a long day for Joe Burrow and company, right? I mean, I don't see them beating us. I think the Broncos gonna win. As far as the score, I can see the Broncos scoring 23 points, maybe 25, 28 points, somewhere around that range. And then they probably get, I'll give them like 2 touchdowns, 14, and a field goal, 17. So I'll say maybe 28 to 17 Broncos.
Yeah. You hit it right on the head. That's the exact same score prediction I got,
Really?
28-17 Denver.
Oh, wow.
Because you're right. Like the strength of the Bengals, their whole entire strength is their passing game. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. That is the strength of their team. The strength of our team is our secondary, and it's only gotten better with the likely or with the additions of Hufunga, Greenlaw, and Barron in the draft this year. Um, the Bengals offensive line don't scare me. I mean, they ate last year. Like these teams played last year in Cincinnati, and honestly, the Broncos should have won that game because you remember that last second touchdown that Bo Nix threw to Marvin Mims to tie the game. Like we saw Bo Nix on the field like this, going like this. He wanted to go for two. Like I believe if they go for two in that situation, they win that game. That defense was atrocious. It was horrible, and they really haven't made any better. Hendrickson, their star pass rusher, like he still hasn't got a deal done, and we don't know if he's going to get a deal done.
They
So
can't,
that's just
Eddie.
going to make the
They don't
Bengals
have money, Eddie. Like, how are they going to pay him? They just need to trade him.
exactly. This makes the Bengals defense even worse. I think the Broncos thrive. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's here at home. We held our own against them. And honestly, I wish Sean Payton would have went for two last year because if we would have beat the Bengals last year. And like the Bengals run game doesn't scare me. Their offensive line don't scare me. Our Nick Benito, Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, all them guys are going to eat. They're going to feast on that O line. Don't get me wrong. Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. Like he's good at getting the ball out quick. But with our secondary going to be as locked down as it's going to be, he's not going to be able to get the ball out quick. This defense is going to be smothering and pass coverage. So, and I'm not worried about the run game. Like I'm more worried about Omari and Hampton from the Chargers or Jonathan Taylor from the freaking Colts than I am, I think his name's Brown. I don't even know who the running back is for the Cincinnati Bengals. It ain't Joe Mixon anymore. So I got the Broncos beating the Bengals here 28-17. They take care of business here. They should have beaten them last year. Peyton would have went for two, they would have won. So I got the Broncos taking this. So right now, Mohammed, me and you both have the Broncos sitting at 3-1 through the first 4 weeks. Next up, this is where I think it gets rough for the Broncos. Like pretty much the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say probably from week 5 all the way to the bye. That's pretty much the meat of our schedule. Like the hardest part of our schedule, or actually week 4 to week 5 is or week 4 to week what is it 11 is pretty much the meat of our schedule in my opinion. But we go up to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. What's your score prediction and what are your thoughts on this game, win or loss?
That's the real deal, Eddie. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, right? I mean, the Eagles, they're Super Bowl champion. They're running back, Saquon Barkley. It's going to be a tough game, Eddie. And we're going over there. We're going to play in their home, in their house. It's going to be tough. Um, but at the same time, Eddie, it's good for the Broncos to play the Eagles this early because it kind of tells you where we stand. Because if you're a team that's willing to go to you're going to go to the playoffs and you're trying to win, this is the kind of games that you're going to see. Like this is the kind of teams that you're going to face, right? So it's going to be a good game for the Broncos. I think we're going to lose, but I don't think it's going to be like a blowout. I think it's going to be way closer than people might think because it's the Eagles. As far as the score, it's going to be close. I don't think they're going to score a lot of points on us, Eddie. I mean, somewhere in the 20s. Maybe I'll even say maybe at 28 points or something like that. And we're going to be right there. We're going to be close, maybe 21 or 25, somewhere around there. But we are going to, lose the game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The Broncos take the L here. I hate to say it, but the Eagles, like, they really, yeah, they lost a lot of pieces this offseason, but I still think that they're going to be really good. I think we will have trouble with Saquon, at least a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to go ham on us. He's going for like 200 yards or anything. I think you know, we can keep them somewhat in check, but I think it's going to be enough for the Eagles to be able to beat us. It's in their house. Like I got the Broncos taking a loss here. And honestly, I'm going to take it a little step further. I think this game's going to be 24-21 Philadelphia. I think we lose by a field goal. Because I think the Broncos are the real deal this year. I really do. They've added the pieces they needed. And honestly, I trust Sean Payton to at least keep it close against freaking, Jalen Hurts and what's their head coach's name? Nick Sirianni. Like I trust the Broncos to keep it close. But
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I think the Eagles just have too much. They
talent.
have more than the Broncos, and they're defending champs. I think the Eagles take this here 24-21. Like, this is probably one of the one games I don't have the Broncos at least scoring over 25 points because I think their defense is still really, really good, even though they've lost some pieces. They really added, more to that. And honestly, this being an East Coast game in week 5 is great because like once the Broncos play the Bengals and we win that game, we go on the road. We probably we both agree with they're going to lose to the Eagles. That puts us at 3-2, but it puts us on the East Coast to where we have less travel. To when week what is that 6 rolls around, we have to go to London the next game to play the New York Jets. Now they got this listed as a home game for the Jets. Now, last time the Broncos went overseas and played in London against the Jags, that was a Jags home game, and there was more Bronco fans in the stands. And I would not be surprised if it was the same thing here. It's basically gonna be a Broncos home game. But what are your predictions? Win loss, Mohammed, and what are the score you're gonna put on here? What do you think of this game?
Um, they just don't scare me, Eddie. I mean, it's gonna be a piece of cake for the Broncos. Broly sort of like the playing the Titans. I'm not scared that they're pretty much rebuilding. Not worried at all. I mean, even though we're going to, like you said, London to play them. Easy win for the Broncos. We might even blow them out. I mean, I don't know, Eddie. Like the Jets. Um, Somewhere maybe we'll get like 30 points, somewhere around there, and I'll give them a couple of touchdowns and a field goal, if that. As a matter of fact, no, it'll be like 30-13. Final prediction.
Yeah, I got the Broncos. Just the Jets are rebuilding. They have Justin Fields, which Justin Fields I like. I think he's an okay quarterback. I don't think he's good, great, or elite or nothing, but I think he's an okay quarterback. He with his legs, like because I was pounding the table last year for the Steelers to play him over Russell Wilson because at least Justin Fields had that dual threat capability. Russ doesn't have that anymore. Um, but I do have the Broncos winning this game. I'm excited. I mean, it's new coaching regime over there. No more Aaron Rodgers. Like the Jets just do not scare me at all. They don't. Like they scared me more last year with Aaron Rodgers. Because at least Aaron Rodgers was what we thought was a capable quarterback, and we beat them in their house. Granted, it was a really low scoring affair because there was a storm going through there at that time. But I got the Broncos winning this game 30 to, I would say 16. 30-16. Broncos just manhandle the Jets all day. And Justin Fields, I think he has like maybe a touchdown, but it's mostly going to be a rough day for him. So, right now, me and you both have the Broncos. I think sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, 2 losses. So we're sitting at 4-2 through what is it, 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Next week, and this is the game I'm personally going to because, like, I believe this is going to be Russell Wilson actually playing for the Giants. I think he will be the starter for the Giants at this point, and he's going to be coming back to Denver to play with the Giants. What are your thoughts, score predictions, and what do you got going on here, Mohammed?
Eddie, is it a Thursday night game or is it a Sunday night game? Do you know?
That's not a primetime game.
Oh, it's not prime time. Okay. Um, I mean, it's another team that doesn't really scare me at all, Eddie. My only concern is us being on the road all this time, like going to Philly, um, then traveling, going to London, and then coming back playing. Fatigue maybe a little bit. That worries me a little bit, but it's the Giants. Definitely gonna win this game. The end of the day, even if we struggle a little bit because of all this traveling the Broncos are doing, but I think we'll win. As far as the score prediction, I know you can't wait for Russell Wilson to come in town, right? Uh,
Oh yeah, I
I
will
mean,
be there.
plays it's gonna be terrible for him, Eddie. Like our defense just gonna annihilate him. I mean, he's gonna be throwing interceptions. He's gonna be running into sacks. The
Oh yeah.
favorites be doing. He's not gonna be able to see anything. Um, it's gonna be a long day for him. As far as the score, I think the Broncos gonna score at least 3 touchdowns. I'll give them like a field goal there. So what, 21, 3 points, maybe 24, and I see them scoring maybe 10 points. So I'll say 24-10 Broncos.
You're more gracious than I am.
Did you give me three
Of course,
points?
I do have the Broncos winning this,
Mm,
but the Giants don't get a single touchdown. They don't. If
six.
Russell Wilson's a QB, which I think they will be, it's going to be 24-6. Denver. They take the win here easily. Russell Wilson's going to be running right in Nick Benito's arms and Jonathan Cooper's arms all freaking day. And I'm going to love it. I'm going to be sitting there cheering like a little girl. I'm going to be like, ha, there it is. There's the old Russ that was here in
Maybe like,
Denver
come
running
here,
from
we
him to
miss
sack.
you, right? Maybe like, come here, we miss
Yeah, exactly. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
you.
Got him on the ground. So I got the Broncos winning this game 24-6. That moves the Broncos to 5-2 on the season. Looking pretty good so far for the Broncos. What is this week 7? So we're almost like I think week 8, week 9. That's about the midway part of the season. So sitting at week 7, I am sitting, and so are you at 5-2. The following week, we have the Dallas Cowboys here in Denver. Mohammed, what is your score prediction? What do you think of this game? And just overall, what do you think?
You know what? Like the Cowboys, I know they added some pieces and they went and traded for a wide receiver from the Steelers. I can't recall his name. Um, you know what
George
I'm talking about?
Pickens?
Yeah, Pickens, right? So they traded for a wide receiver and they made some moves. It's not bad. They had a decent draft, I would say. They always struggle against the Broncos. I don't know what it is, Eddie, but even if they're playing really well, once they play the Broncos, they struggle. It's always a blowout for some reason. Like my recent memories playing the Cowboys, they always struggle, right? We are gonna win. They're coming to our house. They're not winning. Um, as far as the score, I think the Broncos will score maybe 4 touchdowns. Being very generous. So I'll say 28. I'll give them maybe a field goal, be like 31. And they really scored 2 touchdowns and a field goal, 17. So I'll say 30-17 Broncos.
We almost had the same score again, Mohammed. I got 31-14.
14. Oh, okay. That's
Because
close.
last time we played the Cowboys on this, and that was 2021, Vic Fangio's last year with Teddy Bridgewater as our starting QB. We went to Jerry World, and they had a better head coach, and they had a younger, I would think, a better version of Dak Prescott because the Cowboys were, I think they were first in their division that year. Like they were in the talks of being like the best team in that conference.
Yeah.
We go into freaking Jerry World, on their turf with Dak Prescott, with CD Lamb, with Micah Parsons, with Mike McCarthy as the head coach, and we demolished them.
We did.
Like that game's final score was 30-16, and it really wasn't that. That game was a blowout. Like honestly, that game should have been 30-0. Um, the Cowboys threw 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions, pretty much with like 5 minutes left to go in that game. The Broncos were pretty much like just sitting there chilling. They were playing preventative defense, and the Cowboys were able to score 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions. So, and that was in Jerry World whenever they had Mike McCarthy, a better coach, Dak Prescott a little bit better. The Cowboys overall were a better team that year than I think they're going to be this year. 31-14, I think, is honestly being kind. Like, giving the Cowboys 14 points in this game, honestly, is being too kind. I wouldn't be surprised if they only scored 6 points, to be honest with you. We're going to demolish the Cowboys here. We're going to kill them. So that's my final score. So right now, Muhammad, I think we both have the Broncos sitting at, what is it now? 6-2 through 8 weeks. We had the Broncos both sitting at 6-2 at the midway point of the season. Next up, we got the Houston Texans in Houston. Muhammad, what is your score prediction and what do you think of this game?
They're not an easy team, Eddie. I mean, I know they struggled last year, but they're not an easy team. Especially going, at home. with their defense. I think the Broncos will struggle. It's going to be close, but I think it's going to be low scoring too. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points. I do think I have the Broncos taking a loss here. As far as the score, um, I'll say 17-20 Texans.
Okay.
27.
Um, well, we finally disagree for the first time in this video, Mohammed. Broncos are going to beat the Texans. Like the Texans got rid of their best offensive lineman in Larry Tunsil this offseason, which I don't know why in the hell you would do that. You were already
Uh-huh.
struggling last year because of your offensive line. CJ Stroud got no protection, and you get rid of your best offensive line. Like, make it make freaking sense. This Broncos front seven is going to feast on CJ Stroud. Don't get me wrong, CJ Stroud's a great quarterback. I like him. He's a great young, quarterback. He's going to be good in this league. He is good in this league. Don't get me wrong. But that offensive line has me worried. It really does. And honestly, we played this team 2 years ago in Sean Payton's first year, D'Amico Ryan's first year with the Texans. He had CJ Stroud. He had Will Anderson. He had basically almost all the same pieces on that defense as he has now. And the Broncos, if Russell Wilson doesn't throw multiple picks in that game, we beat the Texans in Houston. I'm sorry. Broncos are taking this. And my final score to this game, it's going to be close, but I think it's going to be 28-21 Denver. I think uh, with Joe Mixon, the Texans are probably going to run the ball more. I feel like they will keep it close. Like I think our defense is going to suffocate that pass game. I really do. Like they're not going to be able to pass very much. It's going to be more of a run centric team effort from the Texans. But I think the Broncos win this 28-21.
I mean, I
Like
got
we
a
should
little,
have.
but you got me excited, Eddie. The stuff that you said. Yeah.
Well, it just we played them 2 years ago in Houston, and we should have won. Russell Wilson, I think, threw 3 or 4 interceptions in that game. If you take 2 of them picks away in that game, the Broncos probably win that game against the Texans. And they didn't have that. I mean, what year was that? That was the year that, first year with Sean Payton and Vance Joseph. That was the season that freaking Vance Joseph's defense got 70 points hung on him by the Dolphins. This defense is leaps and bounds. Like we talked about it last week, Muhammad. I think this defense this year, this Broncos defense is going to eclipse the 2015 Broncos defense because they did it last year with sacks. Like this Broncos defense last year had more sacks than that 2015 defense did. And they
I sure
added
did.
more pieces, more dangerous pieces on this defense. Like, I'm sorry, the Texans ain't winning this game. Home or not, I don't care. I think Bo Nix is going to be better than CJ Stroud. Sean Payton's a better coach than D'Amico Ryans, even though I like D'Amico Ryans. I think he's a good head coach. And their offensive line is terrible. Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper and Zach Allen are going to be in that backfield consistently in that game. So 28-21, I got the Broncos keeping their winning streak alive. I had them at, what was it, 6-2? I have them now at 7-2. Through 9 weeks, I got the Broncos at 7-2. Next up, we got the Las Vegas Raiders coming to Denver. Now, Mohammed, I know you've been eager and waiting to, talk about this game particularly because you really hate the Raiders.
I
Um,
sure do.
but with that said, what is your score prediction? What do you think is going to happen in this game?
So, Eddie, I hate them and everything, but I think they're going to be better than what we think or what we expect. They added Ashton Genty. They have their tight end, Brock Powers. Um, they got a good head coach, Pete Carroll. They're not going to be easy as we think, but at home, I still think the Broncos will win. As far as the score, I see the Broncos scoring at least 3 touchdowns, maybe a couple of field goals. So I'll go with Broncos 28, Raiders 20. I'll give them that.
Okay. I got the Broncos winning this game too. Um, yes, the Raiders are going to be better than they were last year because they have Pete Carroll, not Antonio Pierce. They do have Brock Bowers. They did draft Ashton Genty. So I will give them that. They're going to be a better, all well-rounded team, but it's still not enough. They still ain't got enough talent on this roster. I mean, the only talent they have is Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, and that's if Genty turns out to be a good running back, which I think he will. But he's got to prove it first in the NFL. Brock Bowers proved last year he was like one of the leading tight ends in the NFL last year.
Yeah.
So, um, with that said, I do have the Broncos winning this game, and honestly, the Raiders like they're like the Titans to me, man. They don't have that much. I mean, yeah, they got Bowers and Genty. Once again, we don't know what Genty's going to be in the NFL yet. And I mean, yeah, they have Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, but I got this game 28-10, Denver. Like, we're gonna kick the shit out of the Raiders in this game. Like, they're not gonna come into our house and beat us. It's on. This is a primetime game too, by the way. And honestly, depending on how the Raiders, do in the first 9 weeks, this game could be flexed out of prime time. They might not want the Raiders in prime time at that point in the season that they're playing bad, which I think, like I said, the Raiders will be better than last year, but who knows what they're actually going to do. But the Broncos 28, the Raiders 10 in this game. I think we suffocate Geno Smith in the run game. And I just think Sean Payton's an overall better coach than Pete Carroll is. So right now, Mohammed, what do you have the Broncos record at right now, currently?
7-3.
Okay, I got them now at 8-2. I got the Broncos sitting at 8-2 through 10 weeks. And I know a lot of people are gonna say, "Well, what the heck are you talking about?" Like, the Broncos have an easy schedule. It's like one of the top easy schedules in the league this year, and they've gotten significantly better. The Broncos this year, so that's why I got them at 8-2 going into Week 11 against the team I hate the freaking most at home here in Denver. This is the other game I'm going to. Kansas City Chiefs, Week 11 here in Denver. Muhammad, what is your score prediction? What do you think is going to happen in this game?
Um, the Chiefs. I mean, they lost the Super Bowl, and we know why they lost. Their O line was terrible. Their O line is worse, I believe. They traded another piece from their O line. I mean, I know they added a piece on, the draft, but still, they don't scare me at all, Eddie. I'm not scared. I think Patrick Mahomes, the MVP, right? He is going to struggle. He is going to struggle, and Grandpa Kelsey is not going to be able to help him. I mean, Kelsey is younger than me, but as far as tight ends, he's old, should be retired. I know why he came back. He's going to struggle against our defense. It's going to be a long day for them. They're going to get embarrassed by the Broncos. I see the Broncos scoring 4 touchdowns. Yay, right? And field goal got the Broncos winning 31. Chiefs really score a touchdown, a couple of field goal, maybe 3. So maybe 16. I'll say 31-16 Broncos.
We were close again on the score. I got 31-17, Denver. They're gonna beat the Chiefs. Like, I'm not worried, but they should have swept them last year. Now, yes, you could say that second game didn't really count, whatever, because they were playing their backups. So, they were playing not to get hurt, whatever. But the first game we should have won. If it wasn't for, one of our, special teams guys just getting completely ran over, the Broncos sweep the Chiefs last year. But with that said, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, this to me I feel like this is going to be Andy Reid's last year. Honestly, I think this is going to be Travis Kelsey's last year. And Travis Kelsey, he's washed. He's done. Like, you can sit here and say whatever you want. The guy literally gave up in the Super Bowl. Like, you're trying to chase history here, Travis. You're trying to three-peat, be the first team to ever three-peat, make history, and you're out there just standing there, letting your quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, get annihilated whenever you're not even trying to block for the guy. Andy Reid, he said he was coming back this year, but then after that, he was pretty much like, I don't know about after 2025. So to me, that signifies that he might be retiring after this year. It just depends on how the Chiefs season is going to go. They're going to have a Super Bowl hangover, from that loss. And it wasn't just a loss. They got absolutely annihilated in the Super Bowl by Philadelphia. Thanks, Eagles. But with that said, the Broncos have had the Chiefs number. Like, the last out of the last 4 games, the last 4 times we played the Chiefs in 2023 and 2024. Sorry, like, the Broncos beat them in Denver in 2023. We lost to them barely in 2023 in Kansas City. We barely lost to them last year in Kansas City, and we beat them in Week 18. Once again, they were playing their backups. Kansas City, to me, their little dynasty is over. Like, I feel like I said, Reed's going to retire, Kelsey's going to retire, and I got something real big surprise after we get done with the Broncos schedule here because we're going to go over, guys, you know, our record predictions for each team in the AFC West before we get out of here today. But I got the Broncos taking the win here, 31-17. They just kicked the living crap out of the Chiefs in Denver. They're not walking in their house anymore, and they're not going to walk all over us. Those days are over. Um, so, Mohammed, right now, I think you got the Broncos sitting at 8-3, and I have them sitting here at 9-2. I had the Broncos at 9-2. You have them at 8-3.
Yeah.
Going into the bye week, oh my God, we have this beautiful bye week, week 12. Last year, our bye week was in week 14, which was nice. It healed us up, gave us that week off to give us that home stretch, even though it didn't, like, we won, I think, 2 out of our last 4 games. Wait, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah. Out of our last 4 games, we won 2, we lost 2. But those 2 wins after the bye week really secured us getting to the playoffs against the Colts and against the Chiefs. So we get our much needed bye week at 12. And like I said, at the bye week, Muhammad, you got the Broncos sitting pretty even with an 8-3 record. I got them sitting amazing at a 9-2 record. So we come out of the bye, we go to Washington to play the Commanders. Muhammad, what do you got here? What a win or loss, and what's your score prediction for this game?
They're tough, Eddie. I'm gonna try to go to this game because it's not too far from me. It's probably a couple hours. They're tough. They were tough last year, and I think they have gotten even better this year. Um, it's another team. It's another team. I mean, it's just like the Eagles game, Eddie. I mean, it's gonna tell you where we stand as far as what we're trying to accomplish, right? As far as like winning games on playoffs and stuff. It's gonna be tough to beat. They beat them at home. I think the Broncos will take a loss here, Eddie. As far as the score, I could see them scoring 3 touchdown, maybe a field goal. That put them at what 24 points. The Broncos will be close. They're not going to be too far from there. Maybe 17. I'll say 24-17 Commanders.
Once again, we disagree. I got the Broncos taking the win here. I think that Sean Payton is going to be able to outcoach Dan Quinn, and I think because the last time he coached against Dan Quinn, Sean Payton, he put up 30 on his defense. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys in 2021. And well, wait, no, I'm sorry, that was Vic Fangio. I'm sorry. Uh, my mistake. I got screwed up there for a second, guys. But anyway, I'm not worried about it. Sean Payton's going to outcoach Dan Quinn here. I mean, he outcoached him all them years in New Orleans. That's what I was thinking of. Dan Quinn being the head coach of the Falcons, Sean Payton, like majority of the time, had his numbers. So I feel like the first matchup between Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix is going to be Bo Nix walking out victorious. My score prediction for this game is a little bit closer. I think it's going to be 24-21 Denver. They get the win here. They're sitting pretty at what is it now? 10-2, I believe. They're sitting 10-2, sitting pretty. I think right now you got them at 8-4. I got them at 10-2. I just feel like this is going to be a good rivalry, even though they're in different conferences. I think Bo Nix versus Jaden Daniels is going to be an awesome freaking rivalry for years to come. But I feel like if I had to pick a coach to trust, because both teams are equal, I'll give you that. Like the Commanders are really, really good. Like they made the NFC Championship game last year. I don't think they're going to be that good this year. Like the Broncos were in that sweet spot, Mohammed. Like they were like the 10-7, 7 seed, just squeezing the playoffs last year. They actually have room to grow. Like that's my thing. They have room to grow, at least a little bit. The Commanders, the only room they have to grow is to go to a Super Bowl and win the damn thing now. Like I think the Commanders take a step back this year. Jaden Daniels takes a step back because honestly, Bo Nix should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year. The only reason why Jaden Daniels won because he went farther in the playoffs and he had that one miracle pass against the Bears last year. If you look at statistically the numbers in the season last year between Nix and Daniels, Nix had the better numbers. So he had the better numbers out of every rookie quarterback last year. Nix did. So I think that continues. I think Bo Nix takes down Bo Nix and the Broncos take down Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. So you got them at 8-4. I got them at 10-2. Uh, Now going into Week 14, we got the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas. Mohammed, what's your record or what's your score prediction of this game? What do you think of this game?
Still the same, Eddie. I mean, we are going to beat the Raiders again. I think we're gonna sweep them like we did last year. Maybe they're a little bit improved, but so is the Broncos by what's that, week 14. Um, we're gonna beat them. As far as the score, maybe the Broncos somewhere around 28 points. Raiders maybe two touchdowns, a field goal, maybe around 17. So I'll say Broncos 28-17.
Well, we disagree again, Mohammed. I got the Broncos taking a loss here.
Not against the Raiders, Eddie,
I'm
please.
sorry. I have to do it because like they are going to be better this year. I think Geno Smith's better than Gardner Minshew. I think Ashton Genty's better than whoever they had running back last year. And Brock Bowers is still there. And Pete Carroll is better than Antonio Pierce. I do believe we dropped the game here to the Raiders. I think to me, what it's going to be is I think the Broncos are going to have a little fatigue here, maybe feeling themselves a little bit because like over the last 7 games, dude, I had the Broncos rattling off 7 wins. I had them beat the Jets, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Texans, the Raiders the first time, the Chiefs, and the Commanders. I think the Broncos are riding a little high. They get, they kind of feel themselves a little bit and they let their guard down a bit, and the Raiders take this game in Las Vegas. And it's going to be a close game. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout or anything, but I think it's going to be um, a very, low scoring game, or not low scoring, about mid 20. I'd say about 21-20. The Raiders just barely squeak out a win against us. They score 3 touchdowns. We get, a couple touchdowns and a couple field goals, and that's it. I think the Broncos, like I said, they're feeling themselves. They're feeling really good because they just won 7 straight games. They beat Kansas City a couple weeks prior. They beat the Commanders and Jaden Daniels a week before. This is just why I feel like this is a trap game for the Broncos. They're just gonna drop it here. And like I said, it's not gonna be by much. It's gonna be like 21-20 is what the final score is gonna be for this game. That's what I have going. So you got the Broncos, I think now sitting at 9-4, and I have them sitting at 10-3 here. So next up we got the Green Bay Packers in Denver. And Muhammad, what is your score prediction, and what do you think about this game?
They're good. They're a good team. Green Bay is, Eddie, but they're coming to town, right?
Yep,
They play
they're
in
coming to
Denver.
Denver. If
Yeah.
it's in white, that means they're coming to Denver. If it's if it's in blue, that means it's away.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a close game. It is a good team. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't think it's going to be an easy game for us, but I do think the Broncos are going to come victorious. I see us winning. As far as the score, 3 touchdowns and a field goal are probably like around 24 points for the Broncos. Green Bay, I'll give them 2 touchdowns, maybe a field goal, so that put them at 17. So I'll say final score 24-17 Broncos.
Well, we're both on the same page here again, Muhammad. At 24-17 is my score. Broncos win this game. We played the Packers a few years ago, I think 2023, Sean Payton's first year with Russell Wilson, and we beat them. I can't remember what the final score was. I want to say it was a blowout. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it was like 29-12 or something. I might be wrong. Yeah, I had to fact check myself, but um, we kicked their butts last time they came to Denver, and honestly, I don't expect it to be any different. Like, I mean, the score I think is going to be closer, but I don't think the outcome of the game is going to be any different. I think the Broncos win this. The same that you said, 24-17. Denver takes this. Um, you know, like Green Bay is a very like they have Josh Jacobs, but we shut him down whenever he came to town with the Packers last time. So they were a very pass heavy team. Like they were throwing more than they were running that game. And they're not gonna be able to throw on this defense. Good luck to anybody. Like I don't think Patrick Mahomes is gonna have that great of a game um against us. So and he's like one of the best passers in the league. So I got the Broncos taking this 24-17. Now you got the Broncos, I think, at 10-4 right now, Mohammed.
10-4,
I
yeah.
have them at I think 11-3. Or no,
Yeah, it should be
let's see.
11-3.
Yeah, 11-3. I have them at 11-3. You have them at 10-4. So next up, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars coming to Denver. New coach, but at this time it's gonna be week 16. They should be settled in. The Jags should be. But what is your score prediction? What do you think of this game?
We gotta blow them out, Eddie. They don't stand a chance. I mean, what? I can't wait. The Broncos are going to eat. They don't scare me. There's nothing. I know Travis Hunter and all that stuff, but good luck. Really, good luck doing anything against this defense. I see the Broncos scoring at least 4 touchdowns and a field goal. I got the Broncos winning 31. Jaguars, I'll give them 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. 14, 17, 20. So it'll be 31, 20 Broncos.
31-20. That's the exact same score I have.
Oh, really?
31-20 Broncos. Yeah. Um, don't get me wrong, Travis Hunter, like he's going to be good. I think he's going to, be really good. I think he's going to, have a good game that game, but it's still not going to be enough to, get past the smothering defense. And honestly, we like, I know this is going to be towards the end of the season, but we don't even know how well Trevor Lawrence is going to be. Like, he had that season-ending injury last year. Uh, I don't know, man. I don't know how it's going to be. I don't know how this head coach is going to be, but by this time in the season, we should know what their new head coach. I forgot what his name is. He was the OC for the Buccaneers last year. I'm sure we'll know what he is by then. But yeah, the Jags ain't walking into Denver and beating the Broncos. I'm sorry, their defense does not scare anyone. They were supposed to win their division last year, and they got stomped out by the Texans. So, and the last time we played them, like I said, was in London 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, when we had Russell Wilson. And that was one of the one victories that we had. And honestly, I believe that team then was probably a little bit better on the Jaguar side. They had a better defense.
Defense, yeah.
So,
Correct. You're right.
I agree with you on the score. I'd say 31-20 Denver. Now you got the Broncos sitting at what is it, 11-4, I believe, Mohammed?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got them at 12-3. Now, our last primetime game of the year is on Christmas. It's in Kansas City against the Chiefs. Mohammed, what's your score prediction and what do you think is going to happen in this game?
I think we're gonna beat the Chiefs. I think we are going to embarrass the Chiefs in front of the whole nation. I can't really wait for that game. It's gonna be a really good game, Eddie. I see the Broncos scoring 3 touchdowns and a field goal. That put them at 24. I'll give the Chiefs 13 points, so 24-13 Broncos.
Um, we disagree again. I have the Broncos taking a loss here. I
Christmas.
feel like I know it's going to be a terrible Christmas this year for us, but like I already had the Broncos beat them. I don't think like it's still the Chiefs. I still think like even they're division rivals. Division games are always hard. Even though I think the Chiefs are going to be a lot worse this year, I still think they're going to at least split with the Broncos. So I got the Chiefs taking this one on Christmas, ruining my freaking Christmas day. Thanks a lot, Chiefs, you buttholes. But I got the game. The final score I have is 27-24 Kansas City. I think they're gonna find a way to beat the Broncos. They always will. Like I said, divisional games are always hard. I don't think we're to that point yet where we can sweep the Chiefs. But I believe, depending on how this season goes, 2026, like it's over. Like I already said, I think Andy Reid and Travis Kelce are both going to retire, and the Broncos are going to sweep them in 2026. Like I mean, we don't know what that schedule is going to be. We won't know for another year, but I think the Broncos split with the Chiefs this year. So right now, you got the Broncos at what, Mohammed? You got them at
12-4.
and I have them at 12-4 right now, sitting pretty. So comes down to the last game of the year. against the Los Angeles Chargers here in Denver. Mohammed, what is your record predict? Or I'm sorry, what is your score prediction? What do you think of this game?
I think we'll beat them, Eddie. They're coming to town. The Broncos defense, but that by that time, I think we'll have all this stuff figured out. Everything is gelling for us, so I think they will win this game. As far as the score, like I said, I mean they're tough. They're not an easy opponent. So I'll see the Broncos winning 21. I'll give them a couple of touchdowns and a field goal, so it'll be like 21-17 Broncos.
I got the Broncos winning this game too. My score prediction, I got 28-24 Denver. I think the Chargers still will run the ball effectively on us, because like that combination of Amari Hampton and Najee Harris do kind of worry me a little. But the Broncos they're not getting swept 2 years in a row by the Chargers. They're going to take this game at home in week 18. And like I said, 28-24 will be the final score here. Um, so now, Mohammed, our record predictions, like we kept up with it. We ended up with the same record,
Yeah,
me and you. It just we had different games, the Broncos winning and losing. We both have the Broncos sitting at 13-4 to end the season. And honestly, I know that seems crazy to a lot of Bronco fans. I know people probably can't picture that, but with this schedule that we have, the way it's designed, the teams we play, the times we play them, like it, it it's very possible the Broncos go 13-4 this year, and I strongly believe they will. Like last year, I think I picked the Broncos to win 10 games last year. I was like Sean Payton having his guy, even though I know Bo Nix was a rookie. I was like, yeah, Sean Payton having his guy year two with Sean Payton and a little bit better, getting rid of Russ. Because like I think honestly, if Russ would have been like old Russ in 2023, we probably could have won more than 10 games in that season. But I didn't trust Russ 100%. So, and Russ was the reason why we lost a lot of games in 2023. His inability to see receivers, to throw the ball, to hang on to it too long, take sacks, throwing interceptions, fumbles, whatever. So, but this year, I believe me and Muhammad both agree that the Broncos will be going 13-4. Now, here's the big question, Muhammad. We're at an hour, but let's just do this real quick and go over a few more things. There's a few other topics I want to go over, but the first one I want to go over is what do you think? What's the division shape out, or what's the division look like to you? How do you think the division is going to shape out this year?
I think the Broncos and the Chargers will make the playoffs. I think the Chiefs will be close, but they will miss the playoffs. Obviously the Raiders will too. Um, the Chargers record will be closer to us. I'll see them winning 11 games. So it'll be like what? 11 and 6.
Six.
11 and 6. Um, Kansas City maybe 10, 10 and 7. Raiders 8 or 9 games I can see them winning. But yeah, Chargers, Broncos will make the playoffs. I think the Chiefs will be the first time in I don't know how many years they will miss the playoffs. Raiders will improve from last year, but still would be kind of not quite there. Maybe 8 or 9.
You stole my list. Uh, I got the Broncos going 13-4, winning the AFC West this year, making the playoffs. I got the Chargers going 11-6, coming in second, making the playoffs. And I got the Chiefs going 10-7, missing the playoffs, and coming in third in the division. The Raiders I got going 8-9, fourth place in the division, missing the playoffs. And a lot of people I think more people would be shocked. Not like more people are going to be shocked at the fact that I have the Chiefs missing the playoffs rather than the Broncos winning the division. But I feel like that's just what's going to happen. Kelsey's done, like he's washed. The guy should have freaking retired this year. Andy Reid literally doesn't know if he wants to coach anymore after this year, which I don't think he's going to. He's got his championship rings, he's got his money. It's just time to move on. He's getting older. I think he retires. I think the Chiefs going 10-7, coming third place in the division and missing out on the playoffs, that's going to be the time where, because if the Chiefs miss the playoffs this year, they go 10-7, they miss the playoffs. That's the perfect time for both Andy Reid and Travis Kelsey just to walk away. It really is. It's the perfect time for them to walk away. Like, you know what? We've accomplished a lot in our careers. We're multiple Super Bowl champions. We've made our money. Time for us to go off into the sunset. Because as much as I thought that they were going to retire Reed and Kelsey after the Super Bowl loss this year, a lot of people were like, well, they're not going to do that after a horrible loss. They're going to come back at least one more year and try to prove that, hey, maybe they still got it, or maybe go out in a little bit better fashion. Because, like, I feel like the Chiefs, Travis Kelsey and Reed retiring and going out would be better if the Chiefs just missed the playoffs entirely. It won't be as bad as if they lose a Super Bowl badly and then they retire. Then people are like, well, what the heck? They made the Super Bowl. Why did they do that? But if they miss the playoffs, you'd be like, okay, well, the Chiefs are severely regressing. They dropped 5 wins this past year. They go from 15 wins to 10 wins. They miss the playoffs. So, yeah, go ahead and write out. So that's what I think happens. And the Chiefs, they've kind of go in a rebuild. Chris Jones is getting older. Travis Kelsey's older. Andy Reid's older. Their offensive line's still atrocious. I think they're going to bring in a new head coach to kind of help try to rebuild and revamp this team. You'll probably see stars like Chris Jones get traded away next year. You'll probably see, other players get traded away. I'm not saying all their star players, but they're going to keep Mahomes, Rice, and start kind of rebuilding this roster and maybe compete here in a few more years. Because I think if Reed retires this year and the Chiefs miss the playoffs this year and he retires, same with Travis Kelsey, like it's going to be this year and next year before the Chiefs are relevant again, in my opinion. Like they're going to have to take it a couple of years, rebuild, get rid of some contracts, get rid of some old guys, and rebuild it with young, fresh talent. So, but that's what I have. Mohammed, was there any other subjects you wanted to touch on before we get out of here today?
Just wanted to say, Eddie, like the main thing for the Broncos is two players. RJ Harvey, if he can figure out like how to run the ball, which I think he will, once he start getting, once he start dealing with Bonix, and if he's able to run the ball effectively, and Greenlaw, if he stays healthy and he's the middle linebacker that we think he could be, this is going to make a big difference, and it's going to mean the Broncos could go deep in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, yep. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to watch this year, man. The season needs to hurry up and get here. Um, I'm just super, super excited. I cannot wait for the season to start. Um, this is gonna be the breakout year for Bo Nix. This is gonna be the year the Broncos stamp their ticket and prove to the NFL that we're back. We're not just gonna be a team that's just hovering around the 500 mark or under 500 or not making the playoffs. This is the year the Broncos show, like, hey, they might not win the Super Bowl this year, but they're going to be like, hey, we're here. We're going to make it into the playoffs. And we're going to, we're going to be a tough out for anybody. We're going to go deep into the playoffs. And we talked about it a few weeks ago, Mohammed. Bo Nix has 4 more years left on his rookie deal. He gets, because he gets a 5th-year option for being a first-round pick, of course. But I feel within these next 4 years, the Broncos will win a Super Bowl. I do. Peyton's going to continue to build this roster, and it's going to be one of the best in the AFC. They're going to be up there with the likes of the Chiefs from the past, or the Buffalo Bills, or the Baltimore Ravens. They're going to be competing with these guys starting this year and forward. So that's how I see it. We actually have one comment here before we get out of here. From KW, he's like, Washington had the 7th seed, easiest strength of schedule, and the second worst strength of victory. Yeah, I'm not saying like I don't know. I think the Commanders could possibly win the they could win the NFC East, but I just don't think that they're going to take a step back this year. I really honestly believe that. I don't think like they'll still make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that they're going to, get to the NFC title game again this year. I'm not saying it's never going to happen. Like I think eventually they probably will win the Super Bowl too with Jaden Daniels. I do. But I just think this year, with what they did last year and Jaden Daniels' rookie year, I think they take a step back. What are your thoughts, Mohammed, on that?
Yeah, I mean they've got definitely gotten better, but their division, I don't think it's getting easier by any means. And then once the other teams have tape on a quarterback, it kind of affects your record, definitely. But they're still, like you said, they'll still make the playoffs. I mean, I would love for us to go there and win, right? Go to their house and win there because I'm gonna be on that game. But yeah, definitely, it's not gonna be as easy as it was for them last year.
Yeah, and they still have the defending Super Bowl champions in their division. Like as a Broncos fan, trust me, I know what that's like. We've had the defending Super Bowl champions in our division for the last two freaking seasons, and we beat them once. Actually, we beat them twice, but we beat their backups the second time. It's rough when you got the defending Super Bowl champions in your division. Like, yeah, they will lose players, they will lose coaches, but they're still gonna be good, and it's gonna be a tough fight. Like, I could sit here and say that the Chiefs are gonna be bad this year because Reed's getting older, he's getting closer to retirement. Kelsey's washed, their offensive line's atrocious. Um, they're gonna probably have a Super Bowl hangover. So I'm, because like the following year, after they lost to the Bucks a few years ago, they still made it back to the Super Bowl the previous year, but they got their ass. Or no, they didn't. I'm sorry, they made it to the championship game, and they got beat by the Bengals. So they missed the Super Bowl the following year after getting blown out by the Bucks in the Super Bowl. So, um, but with that said, guys, that's all for us tonight. Me and Muhammad will be back next week. We're gonna mold over some ideas, about what we're gonna talk about next week. We'll probably go through the entire week one schedule and give our predictions for each team. Probably a couple other things we're gonna talk about it over the week. But Muhammad, if you ain't got nothing else, man, it was great talking to you again, man. I think we got through a lot, and I think Bronco fans should be excited about this year. A 13-4 record, that's going to be freaking awesome. And winning the division for the first time in what is it, almost like 10 years,
Yeah, since
be
2015.
freaking awesome. So, but that's it for us tonight, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe on this video. Also, hit that bell notification so you know when we go live. And Mohammed, I'll talk to you next week, bro.
All right, take care.
All right, take it easy, guys. Bye.